you off and then you.
Good evening. My name is Councillor Henry Osterhoff. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This meeting of the Elizabethtown-Kitley Township Council. Mayor Burrow has notified us he'll be late, so we'll get started. And Councillor Edie has sent his regrets. But with me tonight, we have Councillor Dan Downey, Councillor Renault, Councillor Smith, and Councillor Brayton. And we have staff at the head of the table. Thank you for your attendance, and there's nobody in the gallery tonight. And maybe some people are welcome to the viewers online. I would like to start this meeting by noting that the council chambers has reopened to the public. Meetings will continue to be live streamed and available for public viewing on YouTube. As part of the virtual public participation, if you have any questions regarding items on the agenda, please submit them by email at deputyclerk@ektwp.ca. Questions received prior to the meeting will be addressed during the public question period, which is limited to a 15-minute time period. We begin this regular council meeting by acknowledging that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin First People. We do so respecting both the land and the indigenous people who continue to walk with us through this world. We have before us an agenda, and I would like to accept a motion to accept the agenda. Councillor Smith, a seconder. Councillor Brayton, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And is there a declaration of pecuniary interest? Does anyone have any pecuniary interest in any of the topics tonight? I see none, so we'll move on. Thank you. Then we'll go to the minutes of our last meeting, regular council minutes dated September 29th, 2025. Is there a motioner and a seconder to accept these minutes? Thank you, Ellen Renault. Councillor Downey, thank you. I have to shuffle a paper. Just bear with me. Then we will, all in favor? Did I ask for that one? Thank you, carried. We will look for the adoption of the committee of the whole minutes from dated October 6th. Is there a mover? Councillor Smith, seconder. Councillor Brayton, thank you. To move, we accept the minutes of October 6th. Note there is our resolutions coming out of the committee of the whole in the minutes. Resolution is in pile. Okay. First, we'll adopt the minutes as minutes first. Okay, we got a mover and a seconder. As all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Henry, would you mind just 6.1 or did you just
I could do that.
nail that?
Yes,
first?
thanks for the reminder.
Thank you.
So we're looking at 6.1. No,
No, you're still at 5.
we were 5.1 and we're doing resolutions from the committee of the whole minutes. And the first resolution is resolution 358-25. That council award tender PW-2025-28 supply and delivery of winter sand to G. Tackler and Son Construction Company Limited. And that council authorized the mayor and clerk to execute a contract for PW-2025-28 supply and delivery of the winter sand to G. Tackler and Son Construction Company Limited for the tendered prices, plus the township's portion of HST, as presented in report PW-25-31 during the October 6th, 2025 committee of the whole meeting. Is there, we got a mover and seconder already? Any? No? No. Okay, now I'm looking for a mover and second to that. Councillor Brayton, Councillor Downey, thank you. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Next, we have a resolution number 359-25. That the council provide direction to staff regarding the final surface paving of the Lynn Valley Bridge replacement project with option 2, which is to defer paving to 2026, remove the paving item from the current contract and defer the work to the 2026 construction season, The corresponding value would be carried over and included in the 2026 asphalt program. This option may allow better pricing and coordination with broader municipal paving works next year. As presented in report number PW 25-31 during the October 6, 2025 committee of the whole meeting. So mover and a seconder, Councillor Smith, Councillor Renault. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, we have to deal with the resolution number 360-25. That council approve Mr. Simpson's intended removal of the registered agreement with the township from 477 Fernbank Road. And that Mr. Simpson provides the township with documentary proof of removal of agreement, as per the owner's request in their correspondence received during the October 6, 2025 committee of the whole meeting. The mover and a seconder, Councillor Renault. Councillor Smith. Thank you. Is it all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Then we're moving on to number 6, staff reports. And first we'll be dealing with 6.1. B 25-13 September building report. I got a list.
You don't have to read them, you can just read the rest.
I just, they, B 25-13, they don't have to read the resolution number?
Just the resolution.
Then I will have to lift up the yellow sticky. That report B 25-13 September 2025 building activity report be received. Mover, Councillor Smith, seconder, Councillor Brayton, all in favor? Carried. Any questions?
I just wanted to talk to this a little bit. So the last time the building report came in August, there was a little bit of confusion around one of the values being so high. So staff have worked and have modified the reports. You'll see them change going forward so that you will see residential, commercial, industrial, and agriculture split out, so that you'll be able to see where permits have been issued based on those categories, and you'll be able to see the values based on them as well.
I did notice that, and I think that's a good move. Thank you. Any comments, Mr. Downey?
We were thinking that one was a Burnbrae farm. Would that be agricultural or industrial?
Yes, it's agricultural.
Oh, is that in here?
No, that was in the last report.
That was, oh, that was August.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a good idea. I'm glad you could split it up like that.
Any other questions, Councillor Renault?
But now that you've split it up, we don't know where or who or anything about the. Before you knew where it was, and so if it said Burnbrae, you assumed that it was a farm.
Yeah, through your chair. That was probably one of the sacrifices of, making, we can add in the address. There was a little bit of concern about privacy issues, but it has been done before. We just felt that you're getting a lot of information in the report, and it was probably better just to see it as the type of structure as opposed to exactly what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions, Councillor Brayton?
Yeah, I don't know whether this is the right place to put this, but through you to the Director of Finance. Charles, we used to years ago get a list of the checks that were made out. It was, I don't know why it was cut out, but it was, if we seen a check was made out and it was, we didn't know what it was, we could ask you, what was this? And you can explain it, and there was no more guessing, everybody knew. I don't know how everybody feels about that, whether they feel that we can use that again or not, but I know I could. And I don't know how big a deal would be for you to just make a listing of it. I don't know. How does everybody feel about it?
Go ahead.
Through the chair to Councillor Brayden. I'm not aware of that process, obviously, just assuming the role. However, in answer to your question, I can look into it and come back with a recommendation specific to that kind of information, if that would be of benefit to yourself. And
Yeah,
council.
I don't think Christine did it.
No.
I'm sure Melanie did,
Mhm.
and I think that Diane did. Before you, okay? And it just seemed, you looked at it and something was, you could pretty near tell you needed to ask a question on. That why, or sort of a deal, so I don't know, I just wondered if anybody wanted that.
I think you can go now.
I didn't know if anybody wanted that, or yes, no, maybe, I don't know.
Could you repeat the request for me? Because I'm not sure what you're asking for. All.
Well, when this township makes a check out.
Yep.
To so and so. It's listed there and it'll say repairs, it'll say. Whatever. Machine, whatever. And it just helped me a lot, but why it was cut out, I don't know. And I don't know. Brad, I don't think it was in your time, I was before that you were, you've seen it. Around the table back then, but I don't know, I could use it, but if nobody else wants it, like it's not a must do thing.
So okay, I'll let our CEO speak to this first.
Thank you, Chair, and before we go ahead with that, I would want to check on privacy rules, because we are giving the name of presumably a company, but if a check was issued to an individual, it would be probably in violating their privacy rights. We also do quarterly reporting, so while we may not be giving you specific examples or specific numbers or values of what was issued, you're still seeing a quarterly variance report around what we have spent. You just don't have the exact detail of who we have spent it with.
Go ahead.
Follow up, I can't see here thinking because it was done, we did it. So what's changed between now and then?
Can I tell them what changed, please?
Well, at this point,
The
we'll give
veto.
you the floor. Yeah.
Okay, yes, before when we amalgamated Elizabethtown-Kitley, before they would pay any bill, like I mean the phone bill, before they would pay any bill, it had to come to council and be approved to be paid. Every single bill we paid had interest on it because it was a month late. So your bell bill, your hydro bill, your heating bill, every single bill, we passed a motion to not do that anymore. So that's why we do not get the checks anymore, because we do not need them anymore, because staff know to pay these bills when they come in. We do see things that are unusual. That would come up, that if we would have to pay or have to approve something that we didn't pre-approve, like for contracts for roads. If he came back with, well, it's an added whatever number, we would have to probably approve that. But it was the only time we got those, it was what, before just about the time we were amalgamating, and a few years in, when we realized that we were paying interest on every single check we wrote. It added up to a lot of money, and that's why we did not see the checks anymore, because we made a motion not to do that.
Councillor Brayton and then Downey.
Yeah, I don't remember it being voted on or nothing like that, but I'll tell you one thing, that it was a long time after amalgamation has happened, and it wasn't nothing to do with interest or nothing. It was just that it showed that this township paid a bill, and we'd seen it went out to so-and-so, he got paid for it. And it brought, if it was somebody, not a bell telephone or a fuel bill, something strange, we could say, what was this for? And 99 times or maybe 100%, like that's all we got it. But at least we knew. And I'm just bringing this up, I don't care whether we have it or not, like, it's not a big deal. But I know that up until 2012, maybe, we done it that way, and it was just cut out, and it wasn't voted on. I didn't miss very many meetings here, other than deer hunting time, and I know it wasn't voted on.
Counselor Downey.
Yeah, it wasn't actually the checks we seen.
No.
It was basically just, it was just accounts that were paid.
Yeah.
And so it came out, like, we didn't see anything to do with wages or things like that, but it was charged to roads, wherever, whatever account it came out of. And I found it useful too, back in the day. It sometimes laid the groundwork for some of the budget discussions of the year. I think it cut out some of the, we used to have meetings that actually we would bring in some food from Subway or whatever. And I think there was an argument surrounding that one time, or something was brought up and then that got tossed out. But it was useful, I think, just for the curiosity of the councillors. And you just seen what the township spent money on.
Right.
That's it.
Awareness.
Through you, Chair. How does this differ from our variance reporting, just in the level of detail? Because we're providing with the variance reporting on a quarterly basis to say, here's what you budgeted, here's what we have spent within those specific account codes. So you should know, you may not know the exact company that the money was spent with, but you'll know where we are within the budget. That's the intent of the variance reporting.
It was detail.
Okay, so we did get a commitment from the Director of Finance that he would make a report about this. So is that good enough for now?
It's good enough forever, I don't care, it's just, I just wondered if it
It
would.
may echo the words of the
Yeah.
CAO, but we'll see how that goes. Mr. Mayor, would you like to take the chair?
Sure, if that's convenient.
I'm okay with that, because this is your chair.
Tell them where you are and then.
You'll want to take your name back with you.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And my glass of water for
Chair, you still haven't voted on this. So you might, let's just vote on the out of the way, and then
we have a motion to
Set the building.
this was the building report. That was an added discussion.
Yeah.
The building report is what's on the table. That was a completely separate.
So, and we have a mover and a seconder. We had a small discussion. Is all in favor? Carried. Okay, done.
Hey,
There, you can see that. Left and off the water. There's second time out. And we're at 6.2 when you.
Okay, thank you very much. And my apologies to my colleagues and the public alike for the disruption and for my tardiness and my slight lack of formality here. It's been an adventurous day, including a vehicle breakdown 150 kilometers away and a CAA ride to get me here as soon as I could. All right, so at 6.2, this is a report regarding an amendment to a financing agreement. The motion is the council receive this report F-25-20 bylaw 25-28 borrowing bylaw amendment. And the council approves the amendments to bylaw 25-28 as required by Infrastructure Ontario for execution of the debt financing that has been requested by the township and approved. So could I get a mover and seconder for that, please? Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Brayden. Mr. Director, do you have anything that you wish to add at this point?
Your worship, no, I have nothing further to add to this report. I think the report's self-explanatory. However, I will answer any questions that may arise.
Okay, so I'll open the floor for discussion with any. This seems to be just basically administrative in nature. Councillor Downey?
I just wondered if you could explain if we don't borrow that money, because we have that amount of credit in place now with these people that lend the money out.
So through your worship to Councillor Down, the amount of the application and the loan that was set up with Infrastructure Ontario includes each of those projects, and I'll speak specific. For example, if you recall at the last meeting, there was discussion on the final cost of the Lynn Valley Creek Bridge replacement. In answer, direct answer to your question, although it is set up for this amount, we are not committed to draw down that amount. We only draw down what we require, and interest is only charged on the amount that is drawn down from the date it is drawn down. But the master agreement is for the total amount that was submitted, but we are not committed to using the entirety of those funds.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'll go ahead and call the question then. All those in favor? Okay, that carries. Okay, moving on then to our next item, 6.3. This is a report regarding a request for water tank upgrades. The motion is that report PW-25-32 be received, and the council authorize staff to proceed with securing the production of the meter-controlled water tank with allocated funds to be carried forward to the 2026 budget. A mover and seconder for that, please. Moved by Councillor Renault, seconded by Councillor Osterhoff. And I see we have our manager of public works here. Anything you wish to add at this point?
No, this time, your worship, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so I'll open the floor for discussion then on this item. Councillor Downey.
Was this in the asset management plan that we more or less had in place? Like, were you planning, or were we advised that this is the type of water metering tank that is required, or that was going to be put onto the 26 budget, or, you know, was it planned before the last few months?
Go ahead.
I'm not quite, can you please rephrase the question? I don't think I understand the question.
Well, the asset management plan would, for example, show pieces of equipment that we plan to purchase in a budget year.
Yeah.
And so during the budget talks, we would go through these pieces of equipment that you request.
Yep.
And put it into the asset management plan. And then, so if you put that in for year 2026, we would have seen that probably in 2024.
Okay. Your worship, through you to Councillor Danny. So this was originally approved in the 2024 budget to purchase the water tank, a straight gravity feed water tank. It wasn't purchased in 2024. I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't here. So council granted the carryover of the $50,000 to purchase it in 2025. And when we started negotiating or seeking vendors through our canoe procurement portal, we had a conversation with our current magnesium chloride applicator. He has a small truck, and basically through conversations, he said that he wasn't going to be doing it forever, and that the township should look at or investigate other options. So while we were already talking with the vendor, we asked what the cost or what the potential could be for that, to buy a similar unit to what he is using now to do our dead end roads and some of our construction sites. So it's outside of the budget, so we're asking to secure the purchase of it now so we can start building, and then we'll take delivery of it in April, so it will be a 2026 budget item. That's, yeah. Does that answer your question?
But you did mention that there was something in the budget. What was that?
There was $50,000 to purchase a gravity discharge water tank.
Okay, but so what was out of the budget then? What part of that was out of the budget? The
cost to have a meter controlled
cost.
tank?
So that's, do we know how much that is?
No, if we haven't finished pricing it, the build out. And we haven't got a commitment to, will they give us some high level budget numbers, but that'll be carried forward into the 2026 budget forward.
So the 50,000 is gonna carry over to 2026, and then new pricing comes in for the metering and the bill. Put this thing all together.
Yes.
Above or whatever it costs at that point. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so I had Councillor Reynolds next, and then I saw Councillor Brayton as well. Go ahead.
So the metering water tank would probably save us money in knowing exactly how much calcium we're putting on the road and everything, so it would probably save us money in the long run.
Should you, your worship, to Councillor, we don't have the ability to apply our own calcium at this point, so we have to pay a contractor to do it. So what happens is it would give us the opportunity to be able to do it in-house. So like, right now, we're getting some complaints for rough roads, potholes and roads. So we grade them, and because it's been exceptionally dry, then the next day, the next neighbor calls and says, it's too dusty. We only apply magnesium chloride once in the beginning of the year, and that's it. You know, we can revisit that if council wishes and apply it multiple times a year, but that costs a lot more money. Whereas if we have this piece of this upgraded water tank and this different style of water tank, then we can go through the process of doing it. Now, on a side note, which possibly necessarily goes into the next report, we also pay a contractor. We have a storage tank for our fluoride we use for our wetting our salt. We pay a contractor to come and move it from our big tank to our little tank, which if we had this tank, we'd be able to do that ourselves with it. Okay, so it's going to save us money in the long run and give us more versatility.
Our Director.
Your worship, through the Councillor Downey and all councillors, just building on what my colleague has just said, Councillor Downey made reference to was this captured in the 2022 asset management plan. It was captured. The 2025 asset management plan, which will be coming forward at the end of October to council, will also include the water tank system with the upgrades as my colleague is recommending in his particular report.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Brayton.
Thank you to you to the roads manager. This new tank will complement the old tank, pardon me. This new tank will complement the old tank that we already have.
No, this will be a whole new, sorry, your worship, for you, Councillor Reed, it'll be a whole new setup. It'll be a poly tank that will be put into another truck, and it has controls so they can run it from the cab, so they can put in an exact amount of material through, because right now the way they just have a motor at the back, and it just dumps out an amount of water. There's no control over it. It's just a random.
So this new tank, you're saying this new tank is going to be distributed on the road?
Yep.
For how many times a year is this gonna be applied? Once in the spring?
Well, if council desires, sorry, your worship, if council desires to take on completing the dead end roads ourselves internally, not paying our contractor, but that we would have the ability to do that. Or if in the event that the contractor that we currently utilize retires and decides he doesn't want to have the contract, then we have the ability to be able to do that. And or when we do our own construction jobs, like when we did the Township did Dublin Road, we paid the contractor to come and apply the magnesium chloride to keep the dust down during the construction. We would have the opportunity or the option to be able to do that ourselves. We buy the material, and then the contractor comes, picks up our material and applies it to our roads for us. So his contract is just the apply.
Yeah, okay. So right now, our contractor that puts it on the roads is one time a year.
Yes.
And
Unless we ask him to.
unless you ask them to do it twice.
Yeah.
Which we don't do. So you're not saying that we're buying a tank, $50,000 to use one time in the springtime when we put the roads on. I don't think we need to do it. I don't think we need to tie money up for once a year.
Well, so you might not have heard the part that we can go beyond that once a year.
You
if we
can't.
want.
We're not doing it now. We're only doing it once a year now, so why would we do it twice or 5 times in the?
Maybe to take care of the complaints that we're getting from people that we can't do right now once a year because it's cost prohibitive to get the contractor. And I don't want the conversation to just dead end with, well, we're not doing it now, so we should never do it in the future. I think what we're getting in front of us is an opportunity to discuss, can we do things better? And at the same cost or over a number of years, my reckoning is at less cost. But that's me. Councillor Renault?
Could this tank also do that wetting that they do the roads before storms so that it doesn't get slippery? It can't do that. No, okay, I'll just,
Through your Councillor, Council. If there's not to spend more money, we could outfit it with a high pressure system and then use it to actually maintain our bridges and clean. Like we build them off and then we clean the calcium or the salt off the underside of the bridges to prolong their life, but this is at a much higher price tag than what.
Okay, any other discussion at this point? I think at this point, we're just talking about the deferral of budgeted funds into the next fiscal year, and then that becomes a budget discussion item. So we could still, if we wanted to, once we have that discussion, we have all the information in front of us. We could still go ahead and land where Councillor Brayton is thinking right now. Let's just go ahead and spend the 50,000 on a gravity tank. Or we may have that discussion and decide to go in a different direction. That's sort of the mechanics of where we're at right now.
No, actually, I'm asking to have to secure them to start building it, so
Okay.
we'll need it delivered in April.
Okay,
Ahead of the May season when we're going to do grading.
okay. So this is slightly, this is a bit of a pre-budget discussion then for 2026, really, because if you're committing to the build, we are essentially committing to pay whatever that price is,
Yeah.
the difference in 2026. So the only problem with that is what we have in front of us, not necessarily any fault of yours with the information you have right now. We don't know whether that's a $10,000 increase or another $50,000 increase. Like we just have no sense of beyond the 50. What are we looking at to get this flexibility? When do you anticipate being able to supply us with that information?
Your worship, high level pricing is 85,000 for the build.
Okay.
So with the 50, we already have budgeted for 25, it would be an additional 35.
Okay.
And now we may, well, can I talk to that information, but disclose? Yeah. So truck 9, TO9, we were successful in disposing of that asset on Friday.
Mhm.
I spoke to the successful purchaser, I guess, that looking at setting up the wire transfer payment, but we received $76,000 for that. So the 30,000 or 28,700, whatever it changed, I'll put that number, was allocated for the outfitting of TO6 to help us fill in the gap.
Mhm.
So there's going to be an additional $40,000 that I would like to see council approve using that money to cover the shortfall for this.
And may I ask if you happen to have the numbers roughly off the top of your head? What does the contract cost us for the dead end roads and that type of thing that you don't have that? Okay, fair enough. I think I saw it in, oh, yeah, okay, Councillor Brayton. I knew I saw
I
that.
think we're gonna have to crunch a lot of numbers before we start up down that road.
Ready? Anybody else? Councillor Dillon?
Yeah, I would be a little more comfortable if we had what you just asked, just something to compare it to and a little bit more high level 35,000. So, something to compare that as to. So 85,000 to apply calcium once a year, as compared to whatever we pay presently.
Just a small,
Councillor Brayton?
small follow-up.
Yeah.
Where do you get your calcium? I'll call it calcium, I made something or other, but where does that come from now?
With the current contract is with Daily Chemicals.
He goes and picks it up and brings it here. So are you figuring on going to the supplier? Right now, I think it's in Morrisburg. And if it's in there, it's in Toronto. Are you figuring on putting a truck on the road to go pick this up? And
No, I'm not changing that process. The process is, and I forget what his company is, but Dale Culp puts the calcium on. And so it wasn't budgeted for in the 2025 budget to complete the calcium application on Blaine Hilly Park Road. There was a lot of complaints. It was $850. So we can do that for $850. We already have the material and we wouldn't have to get a contractor to do that. We could just do that.
So I believe what happens is we get our bulk purchase from Daly into a large tank here.
Yes.
And then this contractor, for the small jobs, comes and uses our material that we've already purchased that's in our large storage tank. And transfers it to his truck and goes out and does the work.
Yeah.
So we're only talking about that portion. It's the going out and doing the work. It has nothing to do with any other delivery or any other mechanics around the
Well,
chemical
I
itself.
think you're wrong. I think that same contractor fills our tank.
Yes, I think they come and they fill the tank.
Yeah. They have always, and
All right, so then to staff, based on the discussion that's taken place here, if we were to delay this to the next meeting cycle, would you have an opportunity to fill in some of those blanks? So for instance, what are we paying in contracting services for those small jobs and some of those other questions that have come up now? Okay, all right, is that suitable for council? Councillor Smith?
In adding to that, you can probably throw in, here's the price, the pay we received from the former truck.
Mhm.
This is how much money you're going to use on this truck to upgrade. This is how much money we're gonna take from that purchase, that income revenue towards this purchase. So then I think it's the broader picture, and I think it will solve a lot of the issues, a lot of the questions coming out of here. I think, in my opinion, was that there was enough information in here that was really saying it, because all we were seeing was that, secure this, meter controlled water tank, but nobody knew how much money, nobody knew where the money was coming from, but now we're hearing that we sold a vehicle, we're gonna use some of that funds towards that, which is good, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying,
we still got more money from it.
if we had that.
To our CAO?
Thank you, Your Worship. And just to clarify, these will be two separate reports, because I don't think we necessarily want to connect T9 and the sale of T9 to this. Yes, it's information that you will get, but I think it should be two separate reports. The proceeds from T9 is.
Sure.
At least we know what.
All right, so then at this point, I'm going to turn to our administrative clerk and our deputy clerk. How would you like to handle this? If we table this, there's a bit of a cumbersome mechanism to bring it back. But the motion here includes a clause to authorize staff to proceed, and I don't think council's comfortable doing that tonight. So how would you like me to handle this mechanically?
Well, whether you table it or defer it, it will require a motion to bring it back to the table, which
Sure.
really isn't that cumbersome.
Fair enough.
If I understood what you said correctly, you were asking council to defer it with staff being directed to bring it back to the next meeting, which would be October 27th. So we have a clear date on when it's coming up.
Yep.
And the motion can be prepared to bring it back to the table.
Okay.
And then further discussion with the information requested.
Okay, so then we need to entertain then a motion to table this with staff to come back with that additional information for the October 27th meeting.
Correct.
Okay, Councillor Smith. Okay, do I have a seconder to table that? Councillor Downey? Okay, any discussion on the tabling then? Go ahead, Councillor Downey.
Something, well, it keeps coming up in my mind. I'm not sure if we could tie this report in with it. But that's what makes me leery, is the fact that we approved the purchase of the new plow truck outside of the budget.
Mhm.
And the numbers just keep adding up in my head. And then, so we're getting other items that weren't included in this year's budget, and we're adding to it, and then we possibly could weigh that off against the truck sale. So I'm just wondering if we could get a better handle on how we are doing in the year. Tied in with this, like where it looks like we're gonna be ending up. And it would allow me to at least feel better about where we're going next with it.
I think it's coming up time that we're expecting a variance report anyway, so to our director.
Yes, and through you, Your Worship, to council and to Councillor Downey. October 27th, there is the Q3 variance report that is coming forward up to the end of September 30th, and commentary on our expectation of year-end projections.
Do we know what the delivery is and whether or not the plow truck will be coming out of this year's budget?
I'm not sure. Do either staff know that at this point? Okay, fair enough. When might we get a progress update on that build?
Yes, through your work to the council. The last I talked to him, he would be able to give us a better idea November 15th-ish. Just waiting and hoping that we don't get snow till February.
Right, yeah, okay. All right, so we do have the motion to table on the floor. Any further discussion on the tabling? Okay, so I'll go ahead and call that. All those in favor? Okay, that carries. Is tabled. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our next report, 6.4, if I haven't lost my place, is with regards to winter control operations. Motion is that report PW 25-33 be received and the council authorize staff to proceed with hiring a 6-month temporary equipment operator for the 2025-2026 winter control season. So if I could get a mover and seconder, get that on the floor. Moved by Councillor Osterhoff, seconded by Councillor Wingo. To our staff, anything to add at this point?
No, this time, your worship. Happy to answer questions.
All righty, so I'll open the floor for discussion around this item. Councillor Smith.
Thank you. So through you, member on to Director of Finance or Director of Public Works, Manager of Public Works. So looking at the cost, your total estimated financial impact combined is 67.5 to 82.5. My question is, that's to hire a person for 6 months. What are we paying a contractor for winter control, winter maintenance? What are we paying that individual?
Go ahead.
Your worship, I don't have a total cost for you off the top of my head, but we pay $7.35 per kilometer that they drive.
How many?
$7.35, I believe.
And I believe there's also a daily standby involved in that, regardless of whether the equipment rolls or not.
Yep.
So follow up. So my question is, it goes back to a report we just went through. I'm trying to compare hiring an individual and, versus having another contractor doing the work. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, so the high end, you're at 82,500. I'm just wondering what the contractor was, would be charging us.
Your worship, through your worship to Councillor Smith, this isn't to replace a contract truck. This is to give us versatility for staff relief, for vacation, sick time, that kind of stuff.
Yes, I think the question is, did you examine the comparative business case of, could we handle this with a contract plow route or contract relief? And is it financially beneficial to do it in-house with a 6-month contract position versus hiring out a contract with to a well-known business in the community? So we have 1 or 2 contract routes already.
Yep.
I think this is being viewed as an internal 6-month position.
It is.
And so I think Councillor Smith is asking, did you do the comparison to determine that this was financially a better option rather than just having a third contracted route or an on-call contracted route or what have you with a third party?
Again, this wasn't to replace a contract truck or bring on more contract, is to assist with our staffing levels, which are low.
Okay.
We need additional staff resources to cover vacation, sick time. That's where we're at. That's what the request is for this position.
Okay, so Councillor No.
So. If you have a contract, so you wanna have a contract, then you pay a standby fee
Yep.
and you pay a mileage fee.
Yes.
So whether you want that person to just be around for somebody's on 2 weeks holidays here, you would be paying them for the whole 6 months.
Yes.
Okay, and that's like 7 something, you said 7 something a kilometer? Yeah,
And typically $100 day standby fee.
every day
Yeah.
for the whole 6 months.
I guess I apologize, I misinterpreted the direction from the budget where we were staffing up. So I thought that was what the intent was to increase our staff complement so that we have the capacity to complete the other work. that we
Okay.
need To do.
So the direction was to prepare the business case, so the council can discuss, is that something that we want to do? This basically is asking us now, before those budget discussions have taken place, do we want to do that? So it's a little bit premature if this is an outgrowth of the budget discussion directive. Yeah, my directive did not say include staffing up, it was include a business case for staffing up, so that we can determine that. I see an alternative here being, as Councillor Smith has pointed out, if we were to, for instance, permanently contract an additional route, it would free up the staffing, the headcount to be more flexible, I think, unless I'm misinterpreting the mechanics. So I think that's what Councillor Smith was looking for, was sort of the two approaches to achieve the same finish line, but which is the least expensive overall, you know, to achieve the same capacity, I guess, is a way to look at it.
Okay.
So any other discussion, Councillor Downey?
Maybe some of the councillors that have been around for quite a while, what did we used to do when Dale Culp had standby drivers? He would bring in standby operators, and they would be available during bad weather situations. And I don't exactly remember how that was achieved, but I remember that's what happened.
Councillor Braden?
Yeah, to answer that. We got a mechanic in the garage. An extra head. Somebody didn't show up. That mechanic got on the truck and took the route that needed to be done. And I asked Dale Culp about every year, do you need any more help? And the answer was always no.
Mhm.
Is that right, Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
And so the council was never, ever shirking on giving them enough help. So, but he did have that one guy, and the guys are pretty faithful of showing up. They were, and he had that one guy to lean back on. And I think if worse come to worse, he'd jump in the truck and do it himself. So like he made sure that everything was covered.
Councillor Real?
We also had part-timers every winter.
Yeah, which
Because we always had part-timers every winter. We would have 1 to 2 part-timers. They were paid a fee to be on standby if there was a storm and if they had to come in or not. And that way, if there was a big storm, our staff worked and then they would take over. Sometimes they had to go 24 hours. And you can't have your guys driving that much.
and I think at that
We always
time,
had.
I think at that time, the two guys that were going out to look and to see if it was snowing, they were part-time, but they weren't irregular help, they were hired for that.
I know that's morphed over the years.
Yeah.
When I was sitting in the public gallery, I recall that, but it has changed over the years to where the road patrols are more extensive now than ever they were. Some of that due to legislation, for sure. Anybody else?
And I think that.
Go ahead.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Mayor, I think isn't there a, what do you call it? Road maintenance, minimum standards that you gotta keep the roads up. That I don't think a few years ago you had to worry too much about it.
So just to reassure staff, from my point of view, the lens that I'm looking through, this is a great start. But I guess if this was the intention as the outgrowth of the whole budget conversation, I guess I'm left wanting to know, is part-time the best way to go, or is a full-time where now we don't have to scramble to find somebody to do recreational facility maintenance and that type of thing. Like it's a broader conversation than what is just in front of us right now. And I guess I misinterpreted the report. I thought this had to do with our equipment woes and so on that we're going through right now, that it was all linked together. So I guess that the motion that is in front of us is to authorize the 6-month temporary equipment operator. I don't know where council is at on that. I get the sense that I agree with Councillor Brayton. We've always asked, do we have enough people? Now you're saying I want a body for 6 months, and now council's resisting a little bit, saying, not so sure about that. And so I don't think that's as contradictory as it seems on the surface. I think it's just a question of, is the 6-month approach the right approach to take? Or you really need a full-time person, or something like that. So to do it as one piece rather than taking a look more holistically at the Public Works Department, I think is what's troubling us a little bit tonight. Is that sort of fair, council? Have I got that right?
If,
I'm sort of seeing nodding your heads, Councillor Brayton.
if we need help, we need help.
Yep.
Like, there's no getting around. If you need it, if you have a piece of equipment, and you don't have anybody to drive it, you might as well not have it.
Yep.
And I'm a big believer, if you need somebody to put their ears on the seat, you better get them.
So I'm going to ask us. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, to our Rose Manager.
Your worship, I'm just gonna, I guess, follow up to Councilor Brayton's comment. So with the reconfiguration of the plow routes, we may end up with also that when we receive the truck TO9 replacement, we potentially could have a spare truck to be running around and doing more work, so that we'd have a body, or we just don't use one of the trucks that the TO6, for example, we just don't use it then, I guess, but it's just kind of self-defeating to have a plow and not use it,
Yeah, and part of the discussion that we had around that I don't want to say stopgap measure, but the approach to provide coverage around the supply challenges was that ultimately it's not a bad thing to have redundancy in the fleet, so that if we have a breakdown, we can always pull that one. So I would be challenged to get comfortable with the idea of using our fleet to 100%, because then we're right back in that situation of, well, if we have an equipment failure and we're relying on every piece of equipment for every storm and all the routes, now we've lost that redundancy. So again, there's a bit of a tug there. Go ahead.
But if you look at how the new plow routes were laid out, we've actually reduced the amount of kilometers we're done. Same amount of kilometers exist, and we've changed the allocation of the kilometers per vehicle so that we can pivot and shift. So if you looked at one of them, you could, they can cover each other, right? So they more so in the north end, you were 38 and 40 kilometer long runs, and we've got them able to make 26 and 30. So they can have, there's more capacity to, if we have a breakdown, then we can pivot and shift and cover the routes.
Okay.
So the idea was to get the routes down to 4 to 6 hour runs, so that they can maybe do 2 passes in a solo event versus having a route that's 7.5 hours long, and then he's got his shift done, and then he can't go back out and do another round, right? So that was the idea of building the capacity with the additional truck TO6 covering some of it, and the additional body,
right?
And maybe more bodies and more trucks.
Okay, all right, thanks for that clarity. That I had not interpreted the maps quite the same way that you just explained them, but that makes some sense now. So all right, more discussion. Councillor Downing.
When would you want, if you were to go ahead, have the person start?
I would hope, Councillor Denny, I would hope to have them in by November 15th at the latest. I mean, I have to look at the minimum time that we can post a position. We just ran a equipment operator advertisement. We had some very good candidates. We did ask all the ones interviewed if they'd be interested in 6 months position. They said maybe they would be more apt to take it full time, obviously, because they all are gainfully employed at good employers. However, we have received some requests from other, contractors, staff that aren't going to be on the list for calls for this year. They don't have enough work, so they've asked if we would be looking for a part-time driver. So they kind of, it seemed like everything was lining up for perfect storm to get a body, I guess, from my perspective.
Right. Okay.
Well, so would the variance report be able to address, how that would affect this year's budget too? Because potentially, that's 2 months, of salary.
So,
And also the fact that the staffing up that was gonna be discussed during during our budget deliberations and completed basically by Christmas. So if we decided to go with another person, or we were gonna look for a mechanic, how much room is there to add?
to our director, and then I have a question based on that as well.
Through your worship to Councillor Downey, yes, the variance report for the end of Q3 and the projections at the end of the year coming in to council at the end of October would also speak and make very clear the question you're asking as far as the financial position, and if there is the ability to accommodate the requests that my colleague is making and using the data he's just outlined. That's fine.
And so I just want to clarify something that was in the report, because it did indicate funding for this position will be drawn from the existing winter control budget. So that suggests to me that you're not looking for extra money, but the possible caveat to that in my mind is the existing winter control budget takes us to December 31st. So a portion of the portion of this that will be occurring in 2025 can be accommodated within the existing established budget. As far as what you've looked at. And so the risk to committing to this will be, again, we're pre-committing to 3 to 4 months into the 2026 budget to continue this, because we need to make a commitment to somebody for a 6-month contract. So a little bit in budget and a little bit pre-budget, but nothing outside of budget. Okay, all right, Councillor Goodell.
Right.
What's why do you want to hire them for November 15th? What if we waited till December 1st kind of thing? Then we would have the end of October report. Have a really good idea of where we are. Give maybe a bit more information on what we want to do. Full versus parts versus this versus that. I'm just asking.
Up the big boy, tell him not to send any snow bill.
Yeah.
Give me snow?
So when you answer that, I'm gonna add a part B to that. If we don't make this decision tonight, would you have enough time by the next meeting to bulk this up for what I was talking about in terms of the larger picture, rather than just focusing on a winter control? It's the Public Works Department in general, and heading more towards what I had hoped to convey in that directive. Would you have enough time to do that?
Your worship, through you, I'll mention the first part of the question first. The idea to get them in for November 15th is we don't know when the weather's gonna come. It could hit, I mean, a lot of people are praying for lots of snow in the first 2 weeks of November, so maybe that comes. The idea is that also having them in time to get comfortable with the staff and the equipment we have and the general layout of things before they show up and just throw them in a truck and say, here you go. So there's that. And the other part of that would be making sure that people are available, like they may already have, we don't have anybody picked, but they may be picked over by the later we get into the season, right? Like they said, we've had a few people reach out and there were some good candidates in the original posting that, would probably fit the bill nicely for us, but they may move on and have other positions before we get around to making the decision. Yes, your worship, by the 27th, it would be a stretch.
Right.
To be honest, because there's a very tight timeline to get the budget back around for the operations and capital. However, the intent was doing the 6-month position, because then that would give us time to work through that process through your directive. And already have somebody that we can try out. It's a 6-month contract, and if they don't fit in with the staff that we have, or they, paper doesn't refuse ink, their skills aren't what they claimed, then we don't have to keep them. We have that option, and or when council, if council decides to add a full-time position, it could be an internal lateral move for somebody more or less.
All right, good information, Councillor Smith.
Well, through your worship to Mr. Metcalf, so. Did we have temporary contract positions last year?
Yes.
So if we had them last year, that should have been already budgeted into the budget. For this coming year as well, correct?
Your worship, to Councillor Smith, no, actually, the contract positions came out of unfortunate circumstances. They were unplanned, so some of the contract positions were at the wayside. And then we had a medical situation. Then, so it, you know, and we did it with a combination approach from we reallocated staff from the waste site into the roads patrol to run a plow. And we increased our contract truck kilometers to also backfill the need.
So I guess back to my original question. Contractor versus hired temporary. So if we table this. And try to give us some comparisons. In dollars and cents to make a good decision. And when I'm reading number 2, additional equipment needs. It says rental or refurbish surplus unit. Can you refresh my memory? Are we not just buying another truck right now? Like, is this truck new?
Pardon me, sorry?
This refurbish and rental unit.
Mhm.
Is this over and above what we're just gonna be buying?
That was approved in the 2025 budget to keep truck 2 as a spare truck.
Okay,
We haven't exercised that yet.
Oh, okay, so the 20 to 30,000 or the estimated equipment cost of 25 to 38. We think can also be accommodated within the 2025 budget because it's an option that has not yet been exercised.
No.
Okay, all right.
The original intent for what was approved by council was less than that. But after a second review of what is required of the truck after the last winter season, it's elevated higher than what we were originally.
Okay. To our director.
Through you, worship, Councillor Smith. Just going back to the comment that was before, and going back to your original question. Although my friend said it is a stretch, just on a side discussion, I'm fully committed to bring forward the clarification financially that you are seeking specifically for the October 27th council meeting as to contract versus internal. That does not preclude or underscore the discussion within the mayor's directive, but for the immediate issue at hand here, I could bring that back to the 27th of October to provide that clarity from a financial perspective.
yeah, that's all I'm asking.
Okay, and if at the same time we could flesh out a few details, then so a portion of this 25 to 38,000 equipment cost, I guess, has already been accommodated in the 2025 budget, not exercised. So again, if we have a picture of, are we looking at 10,000 more, that type of thing, that will help the council discuss.
Understood.
Okay, Councillor Downey, did I see your hand? No. Okay, sorry. All right, so I think this one is headed also for a motion to table to be brought back for the 27th with some additional information as directed to staff. So if I could get a move by Councillor Osterhoff, seconded by Councillor Brayton. Any further discussion around the tabling of that? Okay, I don't see any, so I'll call the question on that. All those in favor? That carries. Thank you. Righty, so moving on, I think that was it for staff reports. Yes, so moving on to the committee reports then, we have a motion to receive 2 sets of minutes here. The motion is that the following draft committee minutes be received. Committee of Adjustment draft minutes dated September 25th, 2025. And the Lynn Bandshell Ad Hoc Committee draft minutes dated October 14th, 2025. We get a mover and seconder for that. It's by Councillor Smith, seconded by somebody. Councillor Renault, thank you. Okay, any discussion regarding either of those sets of minutes? We do have some motions coming out of at least one. Councillor Smith?
Yeah, I want to thank staff for putting the band shell ad hoc committee minutes on their agenda today. Because there are some very important recommendations that come out of that this evening, so thank you, staff.
Yep. That it was a pretty impressive turnaround, all right.
Well, it's tight timeline, so.
Okay, so I don't see any hands for a discussion around the minutes, so I'll call a question on receiving those. All those in favor? Okay, that carries. Thank you. And we do have resolutions coming out of the Lynn Banshell Ad Hoc Committee. So the first one to discuss, the council approved the design plans provided during the October 14th, 2025 Lynn Banshell Ad Hoc Committee meeting. So a mover and seconder for that, please. Moved by Councillor Minot, seconded by Councillor Brayton. And did you wish to add anything, Councillor Smith?
No, it's pretty self-explanatory, any questions, I'll do my best.
Okay, fair enough. So I'll open the floor for discussion, if any. Okay, not seeing any hands, so I'll go ahead and call the question on that then. All those in favor? Okay, that carries. Thank you. I think there's another one coming out here at least. There's more. Next one is the council approves the use of volunteer work done by a contractor to trim the trees along the fence that are hindering the Banshell project. In addition of the tree around the playground slide if deemed necessary for safety concerns. As recommended during the Lynn Banshell Ad Hoc Committee meeting on October 14th. So a mover and seconder for that, please. Moved by Councillor Osterhoff and seconded by Councillor Smith. Okay, discussion around this item, if any. All right, I'll call that. All those in favor? That one carries. Okay, Councillor No, question?
Well, I'm not seeing, I was just trying to look in the ceiling here. I don't see any pot lights or any kind of lights.
There will be, through you, the mayor, you, Councillor Renault, so there will be electrical and lighting in the band shell.
Oh, okay.
This is structure itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the most of the electrical materials are being donated in kind.
Very good.
Have you thought about the lights that would go all the way around the outside of it that change colors and for Christmas and
I
Halloween?
haven't got to that stage yet. No.
No, they're just like
This
putting up your
one,
Christmas lights. But you can use them all year round, so they can have light.
Yeah.
They could be,
Between the electrical supplier, material supplier and the contractor, I'm sure they'll work something out, but yeah.
All right, any other questions around that item? All right, moving on to the next one. The motion would be that council to direct staff, the director of finance to investigate and apply for potential grants through the provincial and federal governments and other available funding as recommended during the Lynn Banshell Ad Hoc Committee meeting on October 14th, 2025. So mover and seconder for that one, please. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Downey. Okay, discussion around this item, if any? To our director.
Through your worship to Councillor Smith, just a question, clarification, so I'm crystal clear on this. In moving forward with this, was it discussed at the committee today as far as what the final costs are and amount of funding that they would be looking at in grant funding? It would greatly assist me.
Yeah, so the approximate costs, we are looking at eye level 90,000. We're projecting 80, we're close to 90,000. Right now we have raised no better than 50,000 in donations.
And if I may, just a second question, you mentioned as well, Councillor Smith, that there was electrical work and materials and it was donated in kind or contribution in kind.
Correct.
Is there a breakdown as to what that dollar amount is?
Between myself and the building inspector, we can probably give you a list of that kind of information to put in your report.
Perfect.
In your
Yeah.
application, yeah.
That'd be great, because with any of these, that's literally the first two questions they're gonna ask.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, your worship.
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Smith.
That's very good. And to our CAO.
Thank you, your worship, and I'm gonna ask another point of clarification. Most of these are grants will have a time scale to them. Are you anticipating when you want this to be completed? I guess the question really revolves around when do we anticipate construction?
Good question through you, worship, to our CEO. So we are projecting to do the excavating and the foundation concrete work this year, basically November. And if we have to hold off to build the structure itself, it will be in the spring. We're not closing the door on any fundraising or any revenues that come in on this project.
So that now prompts me to have a question of clarification back to staff. Am I right in thinking that some of these grants actually, for want of a better term, forbid you from starting or spending money before they give you approval to? So I don't want to hold it up, but if you're looking to get additional grant funding, which I think is a great idea, do you know if the committee would be open to saying, okay, well, we can't start because now that closes the door on 2 grant opportunities, for instance?
So in the discussion, the focus is, it's like everything else. Once you see something happening, the word of mouth is gonna start to flow much faster.
Mhm.
They're gonna see some action, they're gonna see something start to build. So yeah, we have our signs out there, we got our donation letters out there, requesting funds, but when you don't see anything happening with the project, it's sometimes hard to really encourage, donors. And as we know, it's, money's tough.
Yep.
So, we don't want to, hold off until the spring, to start the whole project. And so, yeah.
And that's fine, just as long as the committee understands that may preclude an opportunity that otherwise might have come to fruition, and that's fine, as long as that's an informed decision you're making.
Yeah.
You know, no issue there. To our director.
Very quickly through your worship to Councillor Smith, in addition to what you just said, or other grants, the other caveat could be if you do start to incur expenses, let's say it was 25% completed, the grant funding would not allow for that 25%. They would discount the amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that, but
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Just to be absolutely
fast.
yeah, just to be absolutely sure. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item?
Just
Councillor Osterhoff?
has the old building been taken down?
Oh yeah, the old building's taken down and everything's been scraped, it's leveled,
Okay.
it's cleaned up, whatever limbs were hanging on to the old pavilion, they've already been trimmed. But, yeah, and the old firehouse, you know, is down and the whole site is clean. It's, very nice to see, it's wide open. Yeah.
Alrighty, I don't see any other hands, so I'll go ahead and call the question on that one then. All those in favor? Carries, thank you. All right, so that concludes from the committee minutes, so I think we're into bylaws at this point. Stuff back on my agenda here. All right, so first and second reading of bylaws. So the motion is that the mover be granted leave to introduce bylaw number 2550, being a bylaw to set a flat fee for lottery licensing fee and to repeal bylaw 07-27, and this shall constitute the first and second reading thereof. A mover and seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Renault, second by Councillor Smith. Any discussion around this one? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? That carries, thank you. And third reading of that same bylaw. The motion is that bylaw number 25-50 be given third reading and finally passed, signed, and numbered accordingly. A mover and seconder for that, please. By Councillor Osterhoff, seconded by Councillor Brayden. All those in favor? That carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to correspondence. We have 2 items here. The motion is that correspondence item 1 be received and filed. The correspondence item 2 be received and direction given to staff. So over and seconder, please. Really shy. Moved by Councillor Osterhoff, second by Councillor Renault. So we'll begin discussion on the first item. Councillor Osterhoff.
Just to be clear, I guess, I don't fully approve of the agricultural area review conclusion. And so whatever we or you do, I won't support this of it, and I making plans to attend the meeting that they're advertising and put my words in front of them as well.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
As an individual.
Okay. Yep. So that's an important discussion. So to let council know, unless council specifically directs how it wishes me to represent my vote at the county table when this comes along. It's not that I'm completely satisfied with where we've landed. But I have this memory of the definition of a consensus. It's a decision that nobody likes, but everybody can live with. And that's sort of at the county council level where we've reached. There's been a lot of bending and compromising to get at least to this finish line. And I think if we turn this down, there's a risk of, is the finish line going to actually get worse rather than better? So unless so directed, I quite likely am going to vote to close, favor of closing this process. But I just want council to know that, and I appreciate your perspective on it as well, Councillor Oster.
Yeah, and I appreciate that too. Like, I'm not going to say I understand all the mandates from the provincial government and stuff like that, and the pressures we're experiencing because we're one of the last areas to do this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. To me, it's unfortunate that we're paying professionals to come to a conclusion that is not the truth. That's what I'm thinking. We have a wealth of old, well done soil maps in the 30s and 40s by experts, and a mapping of the areas, and they are so precise in where the soil is really good and poor and changes and stuff like that. Like, I don't know why we need a satellite to tell us that it's any better. I'll simplify my discussion. They're using 2 or 3 ways of layering this and say, oh, it's now extended 2-3 kilometers that way and stuff. I don't believe it, and because I'll just say, and that's our farm personally. It doesn't matter to me what the designation is for my farm, but they designate it as new prime land. And it's not.
Yep.
Our crop yields were terrible this year because of drought. We're on bedrock.
Yep.
It's a lie that they're coloring it green and calling it to fit somebody's model. It's wrong.
Yep.
That's my argument.
And I will say, we tried on more than one occasion to go back out to our residents and say, look, now is the time to speak up. It's not that other townships were 100% successful in every single request, but two in particular worked hard to get significant changes to their mapping, and the counties did yield to the local municipalities know best. Unfortunately, we just had almost no uptake on those 2 offers. And so it is what it is for us. But I appreciate your comments for sure.
Yeah.
Councillor Renault.
And I agree 150%, because but in here, it's saying, we want your input by the 10th. Well, gee, thanks. And then it says, click here to see the maps. Well, you can't click here to see the maps. Nothing happened. There's no click. There's no nothing. There's no hand. Click on it. So how do you make a comment on something that you can't see? Like, I don't know if they made any of the changes that I suggested to them that they make. I mean, like, take the quarry out of prime ag land, perhaps. That's, 30 feet deep of rock.
Through your worship, it'd probably be better if we just forward the email to you so that you've got the email in your inbox, and I'm sure the links will actually work then. It just could be because the way we've copied this as a PDF is taking a link out of it. So if we forward that email to all of council, you'll be able to check on.
Yeah, and please do, when that happens and you follow and you look at the maps and so on, if things that you requested are not included, please let me know so I can speak about those types of things intelligently when it comes back to the county table. All right, so that was the first correspondence item. The second one. Get back to the agenda here. Yes, was a letter from the town of Smith Falls regarding an initiative from another municipality. So I'll open the floor for discussion around that item. I will say a little bit of background for anybody who attended Roma or AMO conference. This should be somewhat familiar to you. There were questions in the bear pit around expectations of the province to change the municipal act and the accountability and common codes of conduct and so on to help address toxic workplaces and harassment and that type of thing. So this movement has been around for some time, but it seems to be gaining a little bit of momentum. So with that, I don't know council wishes to discuss this, support it, file it, that's up to council. Councillor Smith?
Well, thank you, Your Worship. It, to me, it's for all elected representatives. It's not just for female elected representatives. We all get harassed. You know, and when I'm reading this, it's her. It speaks out harassment, you know, the female elected representatives across this Halton formed group. But it's not just females, we're all elected, we all get harassed, some get bullied, some get accused in a grocery store or a phone or wherever you may be. Generically, the letter itself is fine, but I don't think they really need to just come out and say, being like that.
Councillor Ostrov?
And I appreciate what you're saying, but the acronym HER still stands for Halton Elected Representatives, which is inclusive. It just, you're relating to the acronym letters to female. But it is Halton Elected Representatives, so.
Go ahead, Councillor Smith.
So on page 2 of the very first sentence, and whereas in 2024, female elected representatives.
Well, they started the discussion, formed a group, but it's Halton Elected Representatives. I believe that's both male and female.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no question. It started off with a focus on the female contingent. And I think along the way, the very thing that we're discussing right now was recognized. So I don't think it's an accident that the acronym was formed. The original intent was female focused. Yes, there is a clause in the motion that was in front of us here that says especially women and candidates from diverse backgrounds and that type of thing. But if you read it as a whole, I think it is more generic.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
As a whole, yes.
Yeah. And so I guess that's the question, since it is generic in the way that it's been being presented with all the whereases, et cetera. Is council of a mind to go ahead and support it as it has been presented to us? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Mel?
Yes, I would support it. I mean, it's a very sad commentary on the world today. When it doesn't matter what store you go into, or a bank, or anywhere you go, there's a little sign that says,
It's all not tolerated.
treat the person that you're dealing with respect. Seriously.
Yep.
Why do you have to tell somebody to be polite? That it's such a sad commentary. But this is necessary, because like Councillor Smith said, it doesn't matter where you go. If somebody knows who you are, or that you're on council and they don't like what we've done, it's all your fault.
Yep.
Whether it was, or because it's a group. So yes, maybe as a group, it's our fault, but not individually, and we shouldn't have to be beat up over it.
So the motion that we have around correspondence is to give direction to staff. So given that I hear a consensus forming around supporting this resolution, what is the direction that you seek, or should we just pass a motion to support?
To support
To just change, to alter that to be receive and support?
That's correct.
I think probably is the way. All right, so then what I need is an amendment then to the motion, rather than the correspondence item to be received and direction given to staff, we'll do amended to be received and supported.
Yep.
Okay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Ostrov, question?
What do you mean? What is the result of us supporting? Are we sending a letter to all those CCs? Like, if we just say support and then it stops, but we want people to know that we support, how does that work?
Yeah, so I believe that there is a registry being collected of the municipalities that pledge their support for this.
Okay.
So to our staff, do we CC everybody? You know, what are the mechanics of this?
We typically follow what they've done, and on the bottom of the second page, the copy of this resolution be sent to the association, federation, that's what staff.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to understand what the result of us supporting.
Yep, fair question. So I have a mover to amend this motion to be received and support. Do I have a seconder? Councilor Rideau. All right, all those in favor then, I think we've already discussed this, and opposed, if any, Okay, that does carry. Thank you.
Motion.
Madam Deputy?
Do you require an additional resolution that has all of this retyped out, or are you content with having that resolution emailed with a copy of this?
Yes, I think since we didn't make any changes, we're supporting it as presented by Smith Falls. I think our motion of support can indicate that we support Smith Falls resolution. So that was the calling of the motion to amend the original motion. Now I need to call the question on the original motion to process correspondence as amended. So all those in favor? And opposed, if any. Okay, thank you. That does carry.
I get harassed tomorrow, what I do.
There's not much actually that you can do other than refer to the fact that it's not acceptable behavior.
Just take it, eh?
Yeah, well, oh no, you call it out.
Take it one for the team.
Yeah. No, I have no problem treating people the way that they treat me. So I have no problem in an instant telling somebody, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. If you continue that, I'm hanging up on you. And I've done that before. And I had somebody try and defend that they were swearing at me, that it was an adjective, not a verb. And eventually I ended the call. That's just not acceptable.
Had that attitude to be all the time.
Yeah. You only have to accept what you're willing to accept. Okay, so that takes us through correspondence, and we'll deal with the paperwork afterwards. I'll need an amendment sheet. Okay, that brings us to informational items. Does any member, sorry, Councillor Young?
Well, I'm not sure if this is the place to bring it up, but I did send an email earlier about the bridge deficiencies, and
Yeah.
I was told that we could discuss it and possibly get an explanation from the
Yes, we have been known to
Public
stretch the
Works
information items to include informational follow-ups as well, so not a full-blown staff report. So to our roads manager regarding the Lynn Valley Road Bridge, the deficiencies and specifically the one that's very obvious. I think there are some concerns about how that's going to get addressed, or the structural concerns around the proposed fix, those types of things.
Okay, so regarding your specific concern about the precast fixture and suction protection, this type of design and construction detail falls well within the scope of the consultant's responsibilities. Any changes or solutions such as fastening methods or materials must and will be approved by the consultant, who are accountable for ensuring compliance with all code standards and project specifications.
All right, so follow it then, Councillor Young.
Okay, so we hired a management company to basically act on the township's behalf, attend site meetings. I guess correspond with the consultant. So how many site meetings, like how did it get missed, or how did it happen in the first place? Because it looks like, it looks all crooked, and I just wanted to get like a bit of an explanation as to why, or if it's not as bad as what it looks like in the picture.
I don't understand the question, sorry.
But I think what's being asked is if there are controls in place, and if the consultant that we've hired to manage the project is doing the things that we think they should. I'm going to put words in Councillor Downey's mouth. Would that not include an inspection of the forms before the cement was poured and that type of thing? So I guess, how did it get to be something that needs to be dealt with after the fact, rather than being dealt with on an ongoing basis and prevented as part of the oversight process? Is that more or less it, Councillor Down?
That's more or less it, but because the way I understand it is the management company that we have contracted outside of the contractor. He works on behalf of the township to contact the consultant to come in and check the contractor's work.
No, I don't think quite that way.
Well, then I don't understand what the role of the management company is. And
I'm not entirely sure what management company you're talking about.
well, you showed I think it was $59,000.
That's for contract administration.
Right.
By the same company who did the design.
That's
Same
by the
consult,
same company.
same consultants.
Okay, so. I didn't realize that. I thought it was a separate management company, but basically they missed. This deficiency.
No, at this time, the deficiency list is being worked on with the consulting team and the contractor. There wasn't any missed, it was highlighted as a deficiency, the contractor and the consultant are working together to resolve the deficiency. As according to contract process, we don't need to be involved in that. They're working it, now we get to the end and we're not happy with it, that's when we would wait.
Well, we're not happy now and this wasn't part of the contract.
I don't understand how council could be unhappy when nothing was brought forward to council with a deficiency. That is outside of this table's discussion. This is something that happens within an operational or a construction contract, which does not get dealt with at this table.
So CRCA wanted to get in here as well.
I think it has to get dealt with at this table if it's a problem. We've seen something that we don't like. We're asking questions about it because we're here on behalf of the public. And we can have any information we want about this.
Understood, but I guess what we're being told is that the project is not finished yet, and so the deficiency has been noted. It is going to be corrected. And so is it our job then to do double the work of the people that we've hired to overlook this? If they fail, if ultimately at the end, we don't want to pay the holdback because we're not satisfied with the end project, I agree 100%. I guess what we're being told is that we're not at that finish line yet. We haven't given the people the opportunity to go through the process of correcting deficiencies. This happens to be one that caught everybody's attention. I'm sure there are other deficiencies that exist that we don't even know that are going to get taken care of. And so I'll give our CAO a chance to.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. So we've contracted a professional engineering firm to oversee this project on our behalf. They worked with the contractor. The job's not done, and the contractor and the engineer recognize that there are things that need to change. Any construction project, there are going to be things that are going to need to change or maybe deficient. And it's up to the contractor and the engineer who's contracted by us to oversee the project to make sure they work through those. Yes, at the end of the project, if the engineer is saying, yep, I think this, if he'd said this wall is perfect and he says exactly the way it should be, we would then have an opportunity to say, hold on, no, it's not. But they're in the middle of the process. They've not signed the project off. They've not passed it on to us to say it's a completed project. So there are deficiencies, the parapet being one of those, and they're working on it. They're finding a solution that the engineer is comfortable with from an engineering perspective and from a safety perspective.
Okay, and I'll always follow up and I see Councillor Smith.
I just think that we're well within our right to question it. This cap that they're gonna put on is like it's like an afterthought. It's a bit of a Band-Aid to what's there. So the more information we can get, I was willing to be hands-off until we seen this. So that brought it to light, and I think we need some good explanations, that's all.
Yeah, and I don't know that we have them. I don't know whether the engineer even has the answer as to how the wall got to be the way it is. I don't know if that's an answer that we can get. Do you think we can get that feedback?
We can certainly ask the engineers for that feedback.
Okay, I think that may go partway towards satisfying the appetite. Councillor Smith?
Thank you, Your Worship. So working for a concrete contractor for a number of years. And doing work for MTO in the city of Brockville and the county. I will say that inspectors are always around inspecting work. And I'm not sure if any engineer designed the walls to be an S shape. And I don't know where they were when they poured the concrete. Because as you know, it's all backfilled, it's all packed. And in my opinion, it's been an after effect solution to fix a problem that we, in my opinion, we have brought to the table. Because we haven't heard anything about these problems down there. And who knows what else is gonna come out? We heard there was a deficiency list. We haven't heard about the deficiency list. We haven't seen a deficiency list. It's easy to say, well, it's hands off, it's operational, but you know, the buck gets passed here and we pay the bills. And we approved a project, which I'm not too satisfied with the workmanship of that project. That's the bottom line. And I can tell you that the city has made us tear out concrete job and redo it. Because it didn't meet spec. So I wonder where these consultants and engineers are to have a wall shaped like that. Who knows what else has been missed? Any compaction, air pressure compaction and concrete been tested? Who knows? But I'm not happy, as you can tell. And I don't think you should be either, for the dollars you spent.
Oh, don't misinterpret that I'm happy. I guess what I'm drawing on is the number of years that I either sat in the public gallery or here. I don't know that council has ever been given a deficiency list on any project that has ever been done in the township. So it would be a significant change in the way that we do business. Maybe it's something that we have to explore, but you know, I've been sending you agendas for 18 municipalities around the region in the last 6 months. And I can tell you not one of those municipalities has ever dealt with a deficiency list at their council table either. Because I don't just send you those agendas, I read through every page of those thousands of pages of agendas every week. So that's fine. I'm not happy with the way the project turns out. I have the same concerns that you do. If they miss that, what else have they missed? But it would be highly unusual for us to get involved at that level of detail. And maybe this project for us is the thing that changes what's considered the best practice in the municipal sector. All I'm pointing out, as I'm supposed to do, is for your education, nobody else does it this way. We need to think about when the appropriate point is to get involved. That's very different from are we happy? I'm not happy. Councillor Downey?
I'm just wondering, so during the construction, was any of our staff in on the site meetings, or you know, how the project was going ahead? Did you go down there, or did some of your staff go down and sit in on site meetings?
Your worship, I don't have staff that can do that, so no, I was down there about 3 days a week. Every morning I would go down and check on it, yes.
Okay, so did you notice anything? I just want to understand how the wall ended up like that. If the consultant is going to be the final, like, we have to rely on him. I know that he's or they, whatever they are, once they sign off on it, I mean, it's their job. But you know, we noticed something and we just would like some more information as to possibly what happened. And because now that we've seen something, it's made myself curious on behalf of the taxpayers. Okay, because that's why I'm here. I'm not here for, you know, personal reasons. I'm just here to represent them.
Yeah, and I can tell you that the public does have more than a curiosity around this, because it does seem to be a pretty glaring issue.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So if we brought back a report, a certified engineer's report that says that it is structurally 100% will meet its needs, doesn't look good, does that satisfy? Or is it all the appearance? Because the solution that they're working through is for the appearance only.
Right.
So if it's structurally fine and everything is the way it's supposed to be, it's just a matter of it may not be straight or it might be not level. It has nothing to do with structural. Why are you getting involved? Council's role is to set policy, approve budgets, ensure accountability at strategic level, not to manage an operational detail of a construction project. Like, if you want me to bring back a report that states that that is structurally sound and appearance has nothing to do with it, or are you fixed on what it looks like? Cause if you're fixing what it looked like, the solution
Yeah.
is going to fix the appearance.
So I think the underlying issue is, it's reasonable for somebody who's not an engineer to question whether there is a structural concern. So I think it will be important for us to be able to provide the official answer to any of our residents. There's no problem with the structure, an engineer has signed off on that. And I think any reasonable person would take a look at something like that and question, as Councillor Smith did. Okay, if that got done like that, what other things have happened on a day when there wasn't an inspection or what have you? I think any reasonable person would start to question, if something's so glaring, what else, ... So I don't think that we're wanting to get involved. I think it's the way that the work has unfolded has now drawn us in. But absolutely, I think having at least the answer that structurally speaking, there does not need to be a concern will go a long way. I don't know that I actually get it to the finish line, but I think it'll go a long way. So CRCAO, and then I'm gonna get around to other speakers.
Through your worship. Could we invite the consulting engineer to come and tell you directly what they did?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
So at the moment you're asking staff to say what happened, when, how,
Right.
how did it come this way?
To see if he wears glasses or not.
Staff aren't the ones who are responsible for it. We've
Right.
paid this consultant a fee to oversee this project. And if you have questions about the project and how it was run, it's down to them to answer those questions.
Yeah, I think that's
Now, I think we're gonna have to say we can invite them.
Mhm.
They may choose not to. That's down to them.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to at least an issue or issue the invitation. So I saw Councillor Denley with a follow-up, and then Councillor Wood, go ahead.
I would like to see it look nice. And I would hope that it's structurally sound. I mean, that to me is the job of the consultant, to make sure that happens. That's not what we we don't have the authority, we don't have the know-how to deal with that, but we do want it to look good in the end as well as being done to specs.
Structurally sound.
RCAO,
And through your worship, as they are a professional engineering firm, if they're putting their stamp on it,
Yeah.
they're putting their reputation on it, and they're putting their liability and their insurance on it. They will make sure that it is structurally sound. There will be no questions.
okay, Councillor Rail.
And that was my question. In the end, when it's all said and done. They're on the hook if something's supposed to. If I walk over it and it falls down. Right? Okay. So like, you have to be able to trust that it's their neck on the line.
Councillor Denley.
But the fix that they proposed, I guess. I would like to see that as well, because they talked about. Dealing with the contractor, and they came up with a proposed fix that would make it look better. So I would like to see it look nice, but also be functional.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. You know, to put it really bluntly, what's there right now would endure as an embarrassment for the next 50 years or 60 years that the structure is supposed to last. So I was glad to see that there was some aesthetic fix for that. But yeah, I think seeing what it is that we're now going to get is not an unreasonable request either. I do find it interesting that I was sitting in a different seat at the time, but I'm thinking back to Jellaby Road when it was done, and it's just as wavy, if not more so, than this cement wall. It just happens to be wavy this way rather than wavy that way. And there was never this discussion. Maybe there should have been, but my goodness, you know, that road was not done properly, and you know, it got voted through and a few little questions, and away you go.
There was discussion.
Well, there was, yeah, but it never got fixed. It's still as wavy as the first day it was done.
No.
There was no parapet, there was no fix, no nothing there.
That's not right. Down at the other end, that road was like that.
Yep,
George Tackerberry went in there and repaired. Brought it.
Yep.
That it was fixed.
Yep.
He fixed it on his own dollar.
yep.
No argument at all.
One or two spots, but drive down it now and does the same thing.
I don't know about now.
But we never saw a deficiency list.
My bicycle
on
never
that.
pulled that.
So I saw Counselor Smith and then
Nope.
we'll gotta wrap it.
Nope.
Oh, okay, I thought I saw a hand. Okay. Alrighty,
Oh.
is any, Counselor Brad, I knew I saw a hand. Counselor Brady.
Yeah, thank you. Before you go any further, are we gonna talk about Line 9 bridge? I see we got an email, and I think our manager of public works needs an answer tonight. If we're gonna do a fix on it next week.
Are you looking for input, Mr. Royal, or, Mr. McCabe? Sorry. Royal.
No, we're ready to start Monday.
Okay,
You're going ahead with that? Monday?
or CAO.
Because I thought you were asking the question of what we,
No, we're about to get clarification on that, to our CAO.
Thank you, your worship. So, the engineer has recommended the closure of the road as soon as possible. The 20th is the last that they will permit it to stay open, and if council feels that they want to close it prior to us starting work on it, then we probably need some direction to that now.
no,
But we will start working on it next week. Royal is working very hard to get all the materials, get contractors all lined up so that it should start next week.
then could that.
Okay,
That's
go
what
ahead, Counselor Brady.
Thanks, that's what I thought that you wanted an answer. It did say for us to approve it, so I guess you have to talk about it if you want to approve it. But that's what I was gonna make a motion to leave it open till next week, start it, finish it. Bob's your uncle.
Okay, so that is the default, and so I guess unless council has an objection to that, that's the way it's going to go ahead.
Yeah.
We would need a motion if council feels that we need to be closing the road tomorrow, pending that the work starting next
No.
week, that's where we would need a motion,
It'll
otherwise
carry on.
it'll just carry on.
Carry on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alrighty, any member have any announcements? Counselor Renault?
Yeah, I'd just like to invite everyone, October 17th to the Legion between 3 and 7 for wing night.
Yeah.
You can dine in or take it home with it, either way. And you can start ordering at noon.
Where's that?
At the Legion in Toledo, it's their wing nights are starting again, and it's October 17th, the Legion.
So. Yep, this is a regular thing that they do in the cooler months, to our CAO.
Thank you, your worship, and your announcement sort of reminded me that the fire department has their biannual Christmas dinner, November 28th at 6 p.m. We'll forward everybody the invitation, but just felt that you want to know now.
Very good. You just stole my item, so that's good. Now I don't have to do that. Any other announcements?
Where was that?
It's at the Legion.
That's also the Legion, yeah. Counselor Smith?
So in the past, we've had drive-by food drives, and stuff like that. And I'm just wondering if our recreation coordinator is interested in getting that going again. It didn't happen last year. And like I said, times are tough.
I know.
Food banks, they need the food. Kudos to Lynn School. They did a 800 collection of cereal boxes. And they collected 800 boxes of cereal and they donated it to the food bank. 800.
Cool.
They set up the gym like a domino and they let it go, and I watched it. It was beautiful. So I'm just asking through you, through council, the staff to see if she's interested or not. I'm sure someone will probably put on a red suit somewhere. And if you're asking the old boy up from the North Pole, I think he's looking probably December to do it. Mid-December, probably the best.
Yeah.
What's the charge for that?
Oh, no charge on your good old boy.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
it's just a case of finding a hole in his calendar, that's
Oh,
all.
okay.
Counselor Renault?
What's a drive-by?
We used to do a food bank that drive by. I was in the back of, Santa was in the back of a half-ton truck, fire truck, the chief, and we would drive by picking up food items, and we thought your daughter helped with that one year. We were going down through your area. And we drove in through the the senior residences in Brockville as well, places like that, so. You know, I just thought if we looked at, say, instead of doing the drive-bys, if we took one location and Lynn, for an example, where the CSAD to bring a food bank item. You know, if we go to Toledo, we can do the same thing, so we're covering the north and the south and both food banks, the north and the south. So just
Yeah, well, a predetermined route with a list of stops that were being made, so people knew where to come.
Yeah.
And in years past, municipalities, specifically through the fire departments, have done challenges to each other as well. To see who can come out on top in terms of the food and monetary donations. Okay, final call. Any other announcements? Okay, not seeing any. Move on to notices of motion. Does any member have a notice of motion tonight? Councillor Osterhoff.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I plan to submit a motion suggesting that we change the start time of our council meetings to 6 p.m. Look forward to the discussion.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other notices? Okay, not seeing any, so we'll move to public question period. We don't have any public with us tonight. Anything online? Okay, thank you. That brings us to a closed meeting. We do have one planned for one item. So the motion is the council meeting adjourned at 8:50 p.m. for a closed meeting regarding one matter under section 239 subsection 2E of the Municipal Act. Litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, specifically an update on 2025 legal cases. Could I get a mover and seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Renault, seconded by Councillor Smith. All those in favor? That carries. Okay, we'll give staff who don't need to be here a minute or so to vacate. Good job. Have a good evening. Yes.
Do you want to make the announcement?
Yes.
Stopping.
So for the benefit of the public, this is the final item of business other than the confirmatory bylaw, so we will be ending our live stream. And I will be reporting out of the closed session into the minutes. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy your evening.